All right. Welcome, everybody, to Sand Country Legends. This is our sixth episode, and I felt led to start a podcast about probably a year and a half ago. And today we have as our guest Ronnie Kilby, who is my first cousin, and Gary Kilby, who is my first cousin once removed and Ronnie's son. And we want to tell the Kilby story today. And it's a great story. It's American story. And it's a story of poverty, depression. Ronnie and my grandparents were basically sharecroppers. Remarkable story nonetheless. Welcome, everybody. My nephew, Rob Peacock, is our cameraman today. And Rob and Gary kind of got together because Gary's daughter and Rob's daughters became friends. And Rob said he asked Kendall what her last name was. And, here we go. And so
it actually goes back a little bit, I guess before that, Brandon was born.
Right.
We were in the hospital, and one of the nurses, who I had no idea who it was at the time, come in the room and was talking to us and mentioned to us that her daughter's first name was Kilby.
Yep.
I thought that was just the strangest thing. I'd never met. Of course, it's Rob's sister.
Right. I'd
never met Sissy before.
Sure.
I had no idea who she was and absolutely no idea she worked at the hospital.
Right.
So that was, I don't know, I guess maybe kind of where it started.
Sure.
Then several years later, kind of reconnected with the, I've always called them the twins, when the twins would come over.
Right. That's right. Yeah. It's kind of amazing how that got started. Ronnie, let me take us back. I remember I was 16 years old when your father, Hall Kilby, was diagnosed with cancer. My mother was his sister, and they had another brother was killed after the war, 1948, on board ship. And
Lawson.
Called it. His nickname was Butch. You probably remember him, but I don't. Much before I
never did. I don't remember seeing him.
Yep.
I don't know.
Right, and I know your dad talked a lot about him because they were family.
Yeah.
But Guy Hall Kilby was adopted, and I knew that. My sister Ellen and Kathy knew that. My mama told us about it, but for some reason he chose not to tell you children.
Mama wouldn't either.
You never knew it.
They kept it secret.
Yeah, you never knew it.
Never knew it.
And I didn't know that.
Mm.
And I can remember when he had cancer, I remember going to visit him in the hospital. And when he came home, I remember it was the early days of cancer treatment, and radiation just cooked his body.
Yeah, he didn't.
And it probably would have been better off without it. I don't know.
Yeah, he would have.
I don't know. But I remember the care and love that y'all took to see about him.
We took him back and forth to Macon about 3 days a week.
That's right.
Radiation, that's what he took.
Sure, radiation. Yep.
But like I say, it didn't. All it done was make a big old prong burst out of his chest, busted out of his chest, and it was terrible.
But to say that cancer's come a long way.
Yeah.
But
they didn't have no chemo back then.
They did.
It was just radiation.
That's right.
And you could smell it when you talked to him. His breath.
Yeah.
You could smell it.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I just remember the care.
Yeah.
I remember that made an impression on me. So for whatever reason, we don't know, our grandfather, Edward Hall Kilby, went to North Georgia for some reason, maybe stayed a little while, and brought back a child and introduced him to the community, and it was Guy Hall Kilby. That was his name. Now, I don't know if we really know when his birthday was. I don't know that he knows. I think
it was
December.
The first week in December.
But he was adopted. I just see that as a wonderful story because I do know from family records that our grandparents had lost a child. I think Guy was born in 1917 and my mom was born in 1925. So, he grew up a Kilby. He's much older. Eventually met Ruby Reeves, married her in Thomaston and lived a wonderful life and had 4 children, Ronnie, you, and Larry, and Dennis, and Glenda. And you're now the only one.
Only one left.
Only one survived.
Only one.
Yeah, only one.
My 3 boys.
That's right. And that's a great story. I do remember that, sometime after, many years after Uncle Guy died, y'all came down, and you remember you came to my sister Kathy's house, and
Yeah.
y'all visited with
Visited.
us and asking questions. And we didn't know any answers. And Millard Wyndham was still living, which is their first cousin, and he actually was raised by our grandparents because his parents had passed away. So he grew up right by Guy, and he knew enough to tell us that Guy was probably born in White, Georgia, in Cherokee County, right, Gary?
That's it.
So
The best I can tell. That's
the best you can tell. So
that's where.
we didn't have any answers, and I remember, Ronnie, you walked away in great frustration, just thinking, where do we go from here? And this is a great story, and I want to end it by saying how great of a story it was. But I want to turn it over to Gary. Gary, Ronnie's son, and I took a great interest in this. How do we know? Why did our grandfather go to North Georgia in 1921 or 2, maybe
2021,
Right.
somewhere in that time.
And how did he get there? There wasn't many cars. Did he go on?
Covered wagon?
May have been a covered wagon.
That's what I
Yeah.
put in the covered wagon.
That's right.
It
And
took him 2 or 3 days.
2 or 3 days to
Uh-huh.
get there.
Uh,
And that was dangerous in
It sure
itself,
was.
But anyway, something prevailed upon his heart strong enough to go to North Georgia and get that child. Now, we have theorized, Gary, I'm going to turn it over to you in just a minute. I do too much talking sometime on these podcasts. One theory is that, they were Methodists in Crowell United Methodist Church, where I'm sure you went to church a lot, but maybe to an orphanage, because there was an orphanage there in Cherokee County, a Methodist orphanage, as I understand. So, Gary, take it from here, and let's just kind of catch up on our search for who he was. But I still don't think we know the answer to why. But we found a lot. So, Gary, if you want to take it from here.
So we both did DNA test. Both me and Dad both did DNA, and after I got the results back, as far as a Kilby relative of the thousands,
and I did a DNA.
Yeah, absolutely,
right,
absolutely.
right.
And of course, we don't match.
That's right.
And the of all the thousands, there are no Kilbys
Right.
at all. So I actually had some help from a friend of mine that does this as a hobby as well. He kind of helped me put some things together. And what we come up with is, if you go back to the family line in around 1920, there is a family of Chastains that Daddy that kind of come out in conversations years ago. I had heard that several years ago.
Well, Millard Wyndham actually said he was a Chastain. His last name was a Chastain. But
the one that told us about it, Sid
Lamb, which is the first cousin as well. He knew it as well.
He was a nursing home up here in Taylor County.
That's right.
And that's where he told us that we were not Kilbys, we were Chastain. The high in the world, he found it out after him and Daddy was real close.
That's right.
And Mama and Phoebe, his wife, they were good friends.
Absolutely. I heard Sid and Phoebe all my life, and I knew that Sid was the first cousin.
Yeah.
But
and that's by DNA. That's correct.
Yes.
Somebody knew.
Right.
Somebody. They took it to the grave with them, but somebody knew.
That's right.
And the other close match is a brook, and it's from the way it looks is Brooke, brook. So that's kind of where we are. Where I'm stalled at now is Chastain and Brooke. Now, how that works when you say Chastain, is it Chastain father or is it Chastain mother? Is it how does that match? I know the people, or I kind of know their story during that time, during the 1920s. I can point to the brothers and sisters, and then same with the Brooks
of Guy Kilby, brothers and sisters.
The mother's brothers. Exactly.
Right.
That line.
Gary, wasn't it kind of common that if a child was born out of wedlock, that the child would take the mother's name instead of
It is,
And that very well could have been,
but
right?
during this time, there was also World War One going on,
Right.
and then there was the Spanish
Spanish-American War.
well, the Spanish flu
Yeah.
that kind of like we had COVID with a few
Right.
years ago.
That's right.
So all of this was going on at the same time. There were several, I guess, things that could have come into play at that time, whether it was out of wedlock or a death overseas or due to the war, or
Could have
death
been. Yeah.
due to the flu, Spanish flu.
Yep.
Any of those things, I guess, could have played a part in it. And with adoption records, the United States did not start requiring uniform adoption records until the 20s. And then after that, they give states several years to go back and catch up what they could. And of course, he was born right during that time. And after several exhausting searches, I just don't know where else to turn as far as an adoption record, or even if there is one.
Right.
So that I did have somebody mention to me about the Methodist, and a Methodist preacher traveled a circuit,
Mm-hmm.
and they were not in the same church continually. So one reason that he may have gone to North Georgia or to Cherokee County to get a child is from direction of or from a hint from a Methodist preacher that was
Sure.
here at the time.
And Gary and Ronnie, it just seems to me that this had to be specific, because there were orphanages in Macon, there were orphanages in Columbus,
Mhm.
probably Americus, Thomaston.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is that we continue to be perplexed about is why. And maybe God doesn't care for us to know why. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. But it's a remarkable story as to
go
why.
to go that far.
Right.
I figure 1920. There's no cell phone. There's no internet. There's no. It's all by mail.
Yeah.
And how do you get directions?
Right.
How do you how did he know where he had to know where to go, specifically where to go to?
Right.
And of course, how to get there, and then to bring a 3-year-old or 2-year-old, 3-year-old is kind of what I'm guessing. I figure 1920. So he would have been 2 or 3 years old. How to bring that type of child
And care for him
back
on such a trip. Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Right.
It is a very strange story, and how and why.
Yeah, we don't know, but we're not done. We'll maybe figure it out. I think Gary and I just talked about maybe we'll make a trip to Cherokee County and get in the courthouse and dig around a little bit. Maybe we can do that. But let's kind of switch gears. Ronnie, our grandparents lived in Crowell, Georgia.
Yeah.
It's in the out in the old Creek Indian Agency out there in the called the Panhandle of Taylor County. It's on the way to the Flint River. They grew up around the Flint River, and after the war, my father went off to the war, and at the time, my mother lived with her parents at what's known as the Mathis place, and it was a 2-story white house. Gary, I've shown you where that was, right, real close to Methodist, Crowell United Methodist Church. But after the war, my father came home, and my grandfather Guinn had purchased Mizell from a family that lost it during the Depression. He bought it off the courthouse square, and my mother and father and their my oldest sister Ellen, which is Rob's mother, Rob's filming for us today, moved up here in 1946. And we've got that recorded out there on a piece of concrete where she wrote her name and the date, and I think it was June something, 1946. So we know that to be I don't know that the house at that point in time even had doors and windows in it. But shortly after that, our grandparents, Ronnie, moved up here with them. And I think they lived in this room next door. And Ronnie, let's take it up from there. What are your memories of coming down and visiting with your grandparents and in the summers? Tell us what your memories are
I
of
got
this.
so many memories. coming down here. Been spending my summers with Ellen and Kathy and Austin and Carolyn
Right.
and Aunt Frony, Grandma Frony.
That's right.
Oh, I love that woman.
Sure.
She was a godly person.
She was a very godly
she-
person. Yeah.
And this was just, we just had so much to do around this place. Austin had his
Right.
peas, butter beans, and corn.
Sure.
We had all that to pick and shuck and everything.
Right.
Back then, wasn't no problem for us. We didn't mind doing it.
Sure.
We loved it.
Sure.
And this right here, this kitchen, dining room, kitchen back there. I remember all that. Grandmama used to be cooking in there, then butter beans and corn,
Right.
and peas and okra and tomatoes.
Sure.
And, shoot,
He
we
was
had the best time.
he
yeah.
was telling me on the way down here that they would leave on Saturday morning,
Mhm.
and come down here, and then on Saturday night go into town and eat somewhere.
Yeah, that's the cafe up there. We used to go up
See,
there. Uh-huh.
that was a treat, wasn't it?
And Carolyn and Austin put us some mattresses on the floor in that room right in there, and we'd all sleep on mattresses, spend the night down here.
My goodness.
Sleep on the floor. We had the best time. We
Yeah.
were not sleeping on the floor on a mattress. It's
Gotcha.
fun to us.
I hear some stories about a storm shelter. Tell me about that. How did that come about?
Storm shelter.
Storm shelter. What
I
now?
remember but we never did go in. I
Did you
don't
have to
remember-
get up in the night and go to the
No,
storm shelter?
no.
Yeah.
I
Well,
remember it being here, but I can't remember where it was at. I mean, we never.
so the theory is that my grandfather was very scared of bad weather.
Yeah.
Mama must have inherited that because when the storm came up when I was a kid, I'd have to get on the bed and be quiet. But I don't know. It was out here somewhere.
Yeah,
But yeah, storm shelter.
I
But
think it was right out here somewhere. Yeah,
yeah,
right out
yeah,
here,
that's
yeah.
right. I mean, we're pointing toward the west.
Mm.
He was also telling me on the way down here that Austin
Yeah.
is in
My father. Yeah.
every time a train come by, he'd have to go
Get up during the night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, go out on the porch and
watch train go
watch
by.
the trains go by and make sure everything was all right.
And tell us why he did that.
I don't have any idea. Let's say he worked for the forestry
That's right.
unit.
That's exactly
I don't
right.
know whether he just done it or he had his orders to do it or what. He never would say, but he wouldn't miss a train.
Yeah, well, Gary, you can probably testify to this. It's why he would do it. But even when I was growing up, we'd have to count the cars. That was
That might have been what he was doing.
yeah,
I
he was
don't
counting
know.
the cars.
Mhm.
But
Watching for sparks.
explain
Sparks, yeah.
the
Watching
two things: a hot box and a stuck brake. So
That's
Gary
That's
works
right.
for the railroad now. Norfolk Southern, which the predecessor to that was Central Georgia Railroad. So Gary, take it from here and explain why my father would have done it.
He's looking for cars throwing sparks.
Mhm.
You have a brake that sticks, or a hot journal, or what he termed a hot box, a hot journal, a hot wheel, something like that. It'll throw off sparks, and of course, cross ties are creosote treated
So,
oak,
yep.
and they'll burn.
Mhm.
We've done it before. I know pretty good idea why he was doing that. So he's
Right.
looking for it throwing off sparks.
I can remember, Ronnie, just since you mentioned that, I know why he would do it, but it was important enough to him to get you up and take you outside to let you see the train.
Yeah.
But
We really, me and Eddie and Kathy, we love them trains.
yep. And there was a siding
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
There's a 200-foot right of way out there that the railroad owns still to this day. And my father told me that there was not enough room to put a whole train in at Howard, Izell, or Butler, so they'd have to split up the train. Sometimes they'd split it in half, sometimes in thirds. Every day there was a train passing and all of that activity going on. But I remember he had a close association with the railroad. He had a system by which if he were to observe one of those occurrences on the train, he could run up the road and he did something with his handkerchief and he could stop the train. And I remember him doing that. Gary, you may know a signal, I don't know, but he could stop the train and the train would stop and they get the fire out and they fix the train, the problem, and they go on.
It is. So rule wise, anyone standing adjacent to a track and waving an article next to the track, it's an indication for you to stop.
Yeah. It's
Could be,
pretty neat.
It is. It's anytime you see that there may be a something stuck on a crossing, something like that. We've had people do it.
Right.
For law enforcement is accustomed to that.
Sure.
it's kind of one of our rules that overlap with law enforcement. Anytime that they're sitting adjacent to the tracks with lights flashing or high beams flashing or standing outside waving, you understand to come to a stop.
Right. And this place, this land is known as Mizell now. And Gary, you working on the railroad always knew it as Mizell.
Always have.
And didn't you say something to your dad about Mizell one time? And he said, Mizell, I used to go there when I was a kid. So tell that story.
That's right. So we were talking a few minutes ago about meeting Sissy several years ago. So I'd been with the railroad now close to 30 years. I'm closer to 30 years, and we're close to 30 years with them. And I've always ran between. I'm an engineer, and I've always ran between Macon and Columbus. And I've ran by here for years before I ever met, before this ever started. I come by this house for years and never knew anything that my dad actually spent some of his summers here. I would go back and forth by this place for, like I said, for years, and never knew it had any connection to my dad. And I don't remember what the conversation was about Mizell, but it had come up, and that he actually, spent some summers here.
Right.
It was just, I don't know, just a strange moment that I'm, this far away from home down here in Taylor County, almost Talbot County, and my dad's like, oh yeah, I used to I'd spend the weekends down there, spend the summers down there.
You just couldn't wait for it to get summer so I could come down here.
Really?
Yeah, couldn't wait.
Yeah. And so our grandparents moved here, and they quickly joined the Howard United.
Yeah.
And they were faithful members there. I think they taught Sunday school, and our grandfather was actually Sunday school superintendent. Our grandmother taught Sunday school too. And do you remember going to Howard to church with them, or?
Yeah, a few times. I know every 4th of July I'd be down here. Naturally, they'd always have something going on up there. And
barbecue.
Yeah, I always had to bring my suit in here. It was my birthday, the 4th of July. My birthday.
Neat. Yeah. Neat.
And I'll always have to bring me some nice clothes down here to wear up there so we could go up there to eat.
Yeah.
Just had a good time. Yeah.
That Howard July 4th barbecues almost became world famous before they had to stop it. But
I look forward to going up there and eating.
And just real quick, when our family moved up here, my mom and dad and Ellen and Kathy was born, and I was a latecomer in 1960. But these good people, the Browns and the Clarks, Gwinnett's, they adopted us as family.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the G's. You remember the G's that lived next door?
Yeah.
And Clifford G. You remember Clifford?
Yeah.
He's the only one living now. But they adopted us and they grafted us into the vine. And it wasn't Mr. and Mrs., it was Uncle and Aunt. And that meant a lot to me growing up. So,
I remember we used to go up to Brown's Pond. I don't know if they still got them or not.
They still
and
up
go
there.
fishing all the time. Austin would take us up there and we'd fish.
Sure.
Have a good time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I won't never forget them days. Yeah.
And I guess y'all is sad that where did those times go? I think they're gone.
They're gone.
And
I think the pond is still there.
They're all three there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still there.
He'd always call them, we'd come up and go fishing. Come on, come right ahead.
And the great thing,
fish,
you cleaned them and cooked them and ate them. Right?
Boy, they were good too.
And Mama probably fried them. Danny probably fried them in an iron frying pan on the stove.
Fish.
So, Ronnie, I think our grandfather died in this house in 1953, maybe in the summer. You probably don't remember much about him, do you?
I don't hardly remember Granddaddy Kilby at all.
Right.
I remember when he died.
Sure.
Because I know that day they brought his body back out, put him in that first room up yonder.
Right. And
Ellen told the funeral director, if you would put a fan on him and let it blow some cold air on him, he might come back alive. That's the exact word she said.
Sure.
So he done it.
Right.
But that's
innocence of a child.
She was just thinking he would come back alive. She put the fan on him.
Sure. We didn't have any air conditioners even when I came along, so you had to have a fan.
Yeah.
But So you mentioned a little bit ago that you loved your grandmother.
God, yeah, I love that phone to death.
Yeah, you loved your grandmother.
That was a heavenly woman. I
Yeah.
know every night before we went to fish, she would always make us kneel down in there beside the bed and say prayers. And she was just a godly woman.
Absolutely.
I know she's in heaven right now.
Didn't she do what's required of a parent, a Christian parent? It's put the love of God
Yeah.
in you
Yeah.
and make it where you accepted Jesus
Mhm.
Christ as your Lord and Savior.
Mhm.
And that's an amazing story
Yeah.
right there. And I want to end with something I thought of, but I want to save it to the end. But she died in 1963.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, in the Montgomery
Yeah,
Hospital.
at the hospital up there. I know
Right.
they called Daddy home and told him that he had better get down here real quick. He
Right.
was going to leave us.
Right.
And we got in the car and come on down here. We made it about an hour before she died. I
Yeah.
remember that very well.
Yeah, her
Right up
dying.
the road, right up in this little hospital.
That's correct.
Uh,
Y'all passed it here,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, I showed it to Gary when we come by there.
Right.
That's when Mama died.
That's right. You know, did all the kids come? Did you and Larry and
Yeah,
Glenda
yeah.
and Dennis
Mama,
come?
all of us came.
Yeah,
Yeah.
came. Yeah,
Mhm. So we all, like I said, we all loved this place down here.
sure.
Every Saturday we'd come, spend the night, and go back Sunday. It was just our weekend to come down here.
That's right. And so, you know, after that, after probably our grandmother died, y'all were growing up, probably
Yeah.
kind of lost touch.
Yeah.
And I know Mama and Uncle Guy stayed in touch, and they
Yeah.
talk on the phone often, and would come down from time to time. And I have fond memories of them coming down. And
Yeah.
you know, I hadn't come along yet. I didn't know any of this. I was only 3 years old when she died. I don't remember either one of my grandfathers, and know very little about my grandmothers. But it's a unique opportunity to know and love your grandmother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, Gary, anything else? Anything comes to mind?
Not after that. Not after that. So that was pretty good.
After she died, I mean, things just wasn't right down here anymore.
I got you.
I missed her so much. I
Sure.
just quit coming.
That's right.
But I still love Ellen and Kathy.
No, I know.
I want to be with them.
Yeah.
Like I say, we're growing up, and
Kathy will probably begin a little
Yeah.
bit, and I think Ellen too.
Yeah.
I want to kind of, we don't have to end this, but I want to kind of wind this down. You know, you mentioned that your dad never told you
no,
or your brothers and sisters that
Nope.
he was adopted.
nope.
I've got a clue why. Because he wanted you to know the love that he knew from his mom and dad. And you certainly were a recipient of the love of my grandmother that I never knew, but you know she loved you. And she planted the seed of your salvation in you, I'm sure.
But what I don't understand, why come Mama didn't do? She didn't even mention it at all.
Well, she might not have been allowed.
I
Yeah.
don't know what to
Yeah.
do. I mean,
Yeah.
Why she didn't just tell us about it, but she didn't do it. She just
It was thought of differently 100
That-
years ago.
It was.
It was kind of taboo.
And it certainly is not today. And I don't, yeah, but you're right. It was, I don't know. Well, maybe somebody knew that in school, was he adopted, at church, was he, I don't know. But I don't think it really matters. It certainly not matter to me
yeah.
because y'all are family. And I cherish that very highly. I really do. And this might not have ever gotten together unless you had met Sissy and Rob, and we here we go.
I don't know that growing up that I don't think we ever come down here for anything.
No, like I say,
I don't think we ever did.
Carolyn died. I don't know.
Right.
I always knew, I don't mean to sound weird or anything, but I always knew y'all existed.
Right.
I just, never, up until, I don't know, 5 years ago, how long ago this started, other than running through here on a locomotive, I've never really been to Taylor County for anything.
This kind of is a lead in to where I'm working on a podcast about my mother, Carolyn Kilby Guinn. She would have turned 100 this year. She's a class of 1942. And she will turn 100 on July the 19th. And we're going to do a great podcast on her and her life in the class of 1942 from Reynolds High School. There's an existing war between Butler and Reynolds when she was growing up. And some of that still exists today in Butler and Reynolds. Reynolds just may have well been in California somewhere, just another town. My mom used to say they'd meet halfway and fight. The boys would. And I always tell, I'm a half breed. My mom's from Reynolds, my dad's from Butler, so I can claim either side. But as we close, Ronnie, I want you to know that
You know that my sister was named after Carol.
Yep.
Glenda Carol and Kilby.
Yeah, that's
They
right.
named her after Carol.
Right. And my son, my oldest son, Austin, is named Austin Hall.
That's Daddy's middle name.
And that's your daddy's middle name and granddaddy's middle
Well, we
name.
tried to, me and Gary did, with him being, was his last name Hall? I mean,
I don't know
why
where
was his middle name Hall?
I do not know where Hall came
We
from.
have any ideas?
I don't see that recorded anywhere.
Was his last name or what?
I don't know.
Never did
I
find out
really
anything.
don't know. But well, we'll bring it to a close, and I can't tell y'all how much I enjoyed this.
Yeah,
And we're recording this for our children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, and if you want to look this up, you can look it up sandcountrylegends.com, or you can go on YouTube and take a look at it. It'll take me a few days to get it edited. I don't think we're going to have to edit very much. And you can see it. And I plan on doing more.
Yeah.
And with that, Ronnie, I love you. Gary, I love you. And I thank you for this time we've had. All right.
You welcome.
All right. That's it, Rob.